What if the most powerful person in the Mongol Empire wasn't a fearsome warrior on horseback, but a woman whose greatest weapon was her mind? History remembers the Mongols for their brutal conquests, the thundering hooves of their cavalry, and the vision of one man, Genghis Khan. But in the shadow of these titans, a different kind of power was quietly growing, wielded not with a sword, but with patience, intelligence, and unwavering resolve. After her husband's death, a Mongol princess was left to fend for herself and her children in a court full of enemies. She was a widow in one of the most ruthless political arenas the world has ever known. By all accounts, her story should have ended there, a forgotten footnote in the chronicles of a violent age. But she didn't just survive. She helped maneuver her family to the very top of the most powerful empire in the world. This is the story of Sorghaghtani Beki, the woman who outsmarted them all and remade the largest contiguous empire in history from the inside out. Her name isn't as famous as Genghis Khan's, but her impact was just as profound. She never officially ruled, but without her, the Mongol Empire might have collapsed into civil war. This is the story of how one woman helped conquer the world. To understand the sheer scale of Sorghaghtani's achievement, you first need to picture the world she was thrown into. The year is 1227. Genghis Khan, the unifier of the Mongol tribes, is dead. His empire, stretching from the Pacific Ocean to the Caspian Sea, with campaigns still raging in China, is a marvel, a colossal territory built on loyalty, discipline, and unmatched military might. But the death of a titan always leaves a vacuum, and vacuums in empires are usually filled with chaos and blood. Genghis Khan had 4 sons with his chief wife, Berta, Jochi, Chagatai, Ögedei, and Tolui. Who would succeed him was the most important question of the day. The eldest, Jochi, was already dead, his parentage forever shadowed by doubt. The next 2, Chagatai and Ögedei, were powerful and ambitious. But it was the youngest son, Tolui, who inherited the Mongol heartland and commanded a vast, loyal army. By Mongol tradition, the youngest son was the keeper of the hearth. Tolui was a brilliant general, but also known for his heavy drinking, a weakness that would prove fatal. And it was this man, Tolui, who was Sorghaghtani Beki's husband. Sorghaghtani wasn't born a Mongol. She was a Keraite princess from a powerful neighboring tribe that Genghis Khan had defeated years before. Her marriage to Tolui was a political alliance, a common way to bind defeated elites to the new Mongol power structure. She was an outsider, grafted into the ruling family. Yet her exceptional intelligence was known. But her real test would come in 1232. After his father's death, Tolui served as regent for 2 years before supporting his brother Ögedei as the second Great Khan, a decision that seemed to secure the empire's stability. But just a few years later, Tolui died under mysterious circumstances at only 41. Some chronicles say he sacrificed himself in a shamanic ritual to cure his ailing brother. Others whisper of a more political end, a convenient death for a man who held too much power. Whatever the cause, the result was the same. Sorghaghtani was now a widow. In the fiercely patriarchal world of the 13th century, this was an extremely vulnerable position. She had 4 young sons, Möngke, Kublai, Hulagu, and Boka. She was now the head of the Toluid lineage, a branch of the family with immense wealth, but no patriarch. Her lands, her armies, and her sons' lives were at the mercy of her brother-in-law, the great Khan Ögedei. In the Mongol court, a rich widow with powerful sons wasn't an object of pity. She was a target. Her family's wealth was a prize to be seized, her sons a threat to be neutralized. A deadly political game had begun, and Sorghaghtani was holding the most dangerous hand imaginable. In the wake of Tolui's death, the great Khan Ögedei held all the cards. He was the undisputed ruler, and Sorghaghtani and her sons were his subjects. Ögedei respected Sorghaghtani's competence, even consulting her on state matters and granting her the authority to manage her late husband's vast estates. It was a sign of respect, but it was also a leash. She was powerful, but only because he allowed it. Then came the move that would define her career. In a classic Mongol political maneuver, Ögedei made her an offer. Actually, two. Levirate marriage, the practice of a widow marrying her husband's male relative, was a common way to keep power and property in the family. First, Ögedei suggested he marry Sorghaghtani himself. When she politely sidestepped, he made a more forceful offer. She must marry his son, Guyuk. This was it. This was the moment that forced her hand. To accept would mean surrendering her family's autonomy. Her sons, the heirs of Tolui, would become secondary to Guyuk's line. Their immense inheritance would be swallowed by their rivals, and their path to power blocked forever. But to refuse was an act of open defiance, an insult that could easily get her executed and her children disinherited. This is where Sorghaghtani's genius for diplomacy shone. She couldn't just say no. So she framed her refusal not as defiance, but as ultimate loyalty. She claimed her most sacred duty was to raise her 4 sons to be worthy servants of the empire. She argued that she needed to devote all her energy to their upbringing and to managing the Toluid estates in their name, ensuring they would become the strong, loyal subjects the great Khan needed. It was a masterstroke. She turned a rejection of his authority into a declaration of her devotion to the future of his empire. She appealed to the Mongol values of family, lineage, and duty. Ögedei, who already respected her, was outmaneuvered. He couldn't punish her for expressing such noble sentiments. He had to accept. By refusing the marriage, Sorghaghtani preserved her autonomy, protected her son's inheritance, and kept their path to the throne open. She had won the first battle not with an army, but with words. But this victory drew a line in the sand. From that moment on, the House of Ögedei and the House of Tolui were on a collision course. Sorghaghtani knew she had only bought herself time. Now her secret campaign had to begin. Having carved out a space of precarious independence, Sorghaghtani began a patient, multi-decade strategy. Her plan wasn't open rebellion. It was a quiet, methodical consolidation of power, a long game played from the shadows. While other Mongol lords jockeyed for position at the capital, Sorghaghtani focused on 3 things: wealth, education, and alliances. First, she built an unshakable power base in her lands in northern China. At the time, most Mongol nobles treated their territory like a personal piggy bank to be plundered for quick wealth. They imposed crushing taxes and turned valuable farmland into pasture for their horses. Sorghaghtani did the exact opposite. She knew that sustainable wealth was far more valuable than short-term plunder. With a team of trusted advisors, she implemented reforms. She fostered the local agricultural economy and revised tax laws to be fairer and more predictable. While other domains were being bled dry, her territories stabilized and flourished. This wasn't charity, it was strategy. Her domain became a source of immense, reliable income, a war chest to fund her ambitions, secure loyalties, and prepare her sons for the future. Her second front was the education of her 4 boys. In a society that prized martial skill above all else, Sorghaghtani knew the future required more than just great warriors. It needed administrators and leaders. Though it's unclear if she herself could read or write, she hired the best tutors to teach her sons multiple languages, a rare skill for Mongol princes. They were trained in war, of course, but also in the art of governance. Crucially, she instilled in them a profound religious tolerance. Sorghaghtani was a Nestorian Christian, but she understood that to rule an empire of Buddhists, Taoists, and Muslims, a ruler couldn't be dogmatic. She gave generously to all faiths, earning a reputation for broad-minded patronage. She wasn't just raising sons, she was forging emperors, custom-designed to rule the world she intended for them to inherit. This policy would not only make them more effective rulers, but also win her powerful allies among religious establishments across Asia. Her third front was the patient game of court politics. After Ögedei died in 1241, his wife Turagena took over as a corrupt and chaotic regent. During this time, Sorghaghtani played her part perfectly, publicly supporting the election of Turagena's son, Guyuk, in 1246 to avoid any hint of disloyalty. Behind the scenes, however, she began building a secret network of allies who were fed up with the ruling family's corruption. Her most important ally was Batu Khan, ruler of the Golden Horde in the west. Batu and the new great Khan Guyuk despised each other since their 1240 clash. Sorghaghtani, sensing opportunity amid the regency's chaos, deepened her alliance with Batu, united by a common enemy. In 1248, Guyuk raised an army and marched west. Officially, it was for a new campaign. Unofficially, everyone knew his target was Batu. A civil war that would tear the empire apart seemed inevitable. Sorghaghtani allegedly sent a secret message to Batu, warning him. But before the armies could meet, Guyuk died suddenly. The circumstances were suspicious, and some historians speculate that his death may not have been from natural causes. Whether through fate or by design, the path was now clear. The throne was empty again. After nearly 20 years of careful planning, Sorghaghtani's moment had arrived. With Guyuk's death, the Mongol Empire was leaderless once more. Guyuk's widow, Ogul Kaimush, tried to rule as regent, but she lacked political skill. The court was in disarray, and many Mongol leaders were disgusted by the corruption that had plagued the empire. This was the moment of weakness Sorghaghtani had been preparing for. She and her ally, Batu Khan, moved decisively. The plan was simple: install Sorghaghtani's eldest son, Möngke, as the new great Khan. Möngke was the perfect candidate, a respected warrior who was close with Batu. Most importantly, he was the son of Sorghaghtani. The key to Mongol succession was the Kurultai, a grand assembly of princes who elected the new Khan. Knowing their rivals would contest a local assembly, Batu, as the senior prince of the clan, summoned a Kurultai in a remote western outpost of his territory. The rival families were outraged and declared the assembly illegal, refusing to attend. This was a fatal mistake. Batu and Sorghaghtani held the Kurultai anyway, and the assembled nobles acclaimed Möngke as the new great Khan. But to make it official, they needed to seal the decision in the Mongol heartland. Sorghaghtani then used her own authority to convene a second, larger Kurultai in the summer of 1251. With the backing of Batu's powerful brother, Berke, and all the allies she had cultivated for 2 decades, the outcome was a foregone conclusion. On July 1st, 1251, Möngke was formally enthroned. It was, for all intents and purposes, a coup d'état, a power shift so dramatic some historians call it the Toluid revolution. Power had been violently wrenched from one branch of the family and seized by another. The transfer of power, heavily influenced by a woman who never drew a sword, was complete. What followed was swift and brutal. The new Khan Möngke, guided by his mother's sharp political instincts, launched a massive, empire-wide purge of his rivals. High-ranking members of the opposing families were put on trial for treason. Guyuk's widow, Ögedei, was accused of witchcraft, executed in the traditional Mongol way for nobles by being wrapped in felt and thrown into a river to drown. Many other princes and officials were executed. Sorghaghtani's patient, 2-decade-long campaign had ended in absolute victory. Her son was on the throne, her enemies were gone, and her family now controlled the most powerful empire on earth. Sorghaghtani Beki passed away in 1252, just months after Möngke's final enthronement. But her life's work was complete. A 14th century chronicler wrote of her, "No woman has been seen endowed with her qualities among the race of women. If one were to see another like her, one would say that the race of women was far superior to that of men." Her victory wasn't just for her eldest son, it was for her entire family. With Möngke as great Khan, Sorghaghtani's other sons were placed in positions to shape the world. Her second son, Kublai, was made viceroy over northern China, where he put the lessons his mother taught him about governance into practice. He would later become the great Khan himself, founding the Yuan dynasty and ruling all of China. Her third son, Hulagu, was given an army to conquer the Middle East. He would march across Persia, sack Baghdad, and establish his own dynasty, the Ilkhanate. And her youngest, Berke, was left to rule the Mongol heartland, the sacred homeland of their ancestors. In one generation, a single widowed princess had maneuvered her 4 sons into power over China, Persia, the Mongol steppe, and the central seat of the great Khan itself. The entire Mongol world was now a Toluid family enterprise, built on the foundation of her political genius. Her legacy extended far beyond family power. The principles she instilled in her sons became Mongol policy. Her emphasis on religious tolerance became the law of the land, fostering a period of remarkable cultural and intellectual exchange known as the Pax Mongolica, or Mongol Peace. Her focus on good governance, which she had pioneered in her own lands, shifted the imperial mindset from simple plunder to long-term rule, allowing the empire to prosper. She is a critical figure in the transition of the Mongol Empire from a purely nomadic, destructive force into a more sophisticated global power. Sorghaghtani Beki was a master of the long game. For 20 years, she patiently built wealth, educated her children, and forged secret alliances, all while presenting a public face of perfect loyalty. What do you think? Was she one of history's greatest political strategists who reshaped an empire? Or was she a devoted mother doing whatever it took to protect her family? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Sorghaghtani Beki remains one of the most consequential, yet underappreciated figures in world history. She never wore the crown of a great Khan, but her influence defined the second and arguably most important phase of the Mongol Empire. She proves that power isn't always wielded on the battlefield. Sometimes the most decisive victories are won through quiet diplomacy, patient planning, and the unwavering resolve of a single person to secure their family's destiny. Her story is a powerful reminder that history is full of hidden figures who, from behind the curtain, shaped the world in ways we are only just beginning to understand.